Hello and welcome to the live. I'm Madeline Mann and I'm joined here today with Mita Mallick and a bit about her. So she is an expert storyteller, marketer, diversity, equity, and impact strategist. And she formerly worked at Unilever, leading their diversity outreach, employer brand, and cross-cultural marketing. And she's now the head of inclusion, equity, and impact at curate. And what we're going to talk about in her story today is she ended up joining my program, LinkedIn for Thought Leaders, and really focusing on her thought leadership on LinkedIn, building meaningful connections and putting her thoughts out into the world. And so many amazing things came from it. We're going to dive into each step of the journey. But spoiler alert, she did end up becoming a LinkedIn top voice, which if you're unfamiliar with that is just like the top of the top, like really high honor. So Mita, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor. You were like on my feed last year. I was sitting on the couch during the pandemic, drinking too much wine, Netflix binging, and there you showed up with a webinar you were hosting that I joined to learn more about how to use LinkedIn. And that's a year later, we're here today.
And a year later, just like that. It's so cool. And so I kind of want to bring it back to that beginning state. Sure. But before we do, I just want to make sure that people know when I say you were a LinkedIn top voice, could you just give us a quick overview of what that means?
Sure. So from my understanding, they contacted me and I thought it was spam or something. They were like, you've been nominated. Can you fill this out? And I did. And it's really based on the content you're putting out there, followership, and just also your engagement. And I think the best way that I've heard LinkedIn describe is it's a platform of generosity. And so they want to look for individuals who are embodying that. And I was just overwhelmed and shocked that I received that award. And then I could tell my husband, see, all the time you think I'm wasting on LinkedIn, there are actually awards for it.
That's so great. Yeah, I think they pick, I don't know, like 10 people per category. Like it's a very small number of folks. So that's super cool. And we're going to dive into how that all transpired a little bit later in this interview. So let's go back to the beginning. Before you joined the LinkedIn for Thought Leaders program, before you really got into all of this, what were you doing on LinkedIn and where were you at in your life?
So I was still at Unilever, as you mentioned. I was the head of inclusion and cross-cultural marketing. And I actually ran employer brand for a time since my background is as a marketer and they gave it to the marketer, which was great. And I had someone on my team who was a reverse mentor and said to me, you love storytelling, you love writing, you should be on LinkedIn. And so I had been on LinkedIn for a while, but it was sort of, as you might say, more passive, more voyeuristic. I would like post an article and say, oh, you should read this. Or I would just post it without any comments because I was nervous about using my voice and having a point of view. And so I was on it quite a bit, but mostly watching what others were doing. And so that was before you and I met, or I met you online and learned about your course. That was my pre-journey.
Right. And so when you were just drinking your wine, like what was maybe that moment, or what really was that trigger that caused you to make the leap?
Well, I was on my feed and I saw that you were offering a free webinar to join to talk about the program. And it was also a time, like I think many of us are feeling still disconnected and isolated. Things seemed uncertain. And I thought this is a good time to learn a new skill. Not that I have a lot of time. I have a 5-year-old who I like to say is going on 15, an 8-year-old who's going on 18, and a partner. So a busy, full life. But this was something I wanted to do. And I thought, you know what, you can always prioritize anything. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink in like 6 months. And I don't Netflix binge anymore. So as much, I would say, not anymore. But you just prioritize the things that are important. And I really wanted to think about how I could show up on LinkedIn more.
Absolutely. And what was it like then going through the program and kind of learning the A to Z on how you could change your behavior on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I loved the program because as somebody who is a busy working mom, it is at your own pace. And so you feel like you're connecting with you one-on-one, but whenever you can do it. So if I was really early in the morning, because I tend to get up really early at 5:30 in the morning before the storm starts in my house, or late at night, I could do it on my own. And I just discovered so many things I didn't know about LinkedIn, or ways in which I could have been optimizing or using the platform better. And so I have so many things I learned, so many gems.
Oh my gosh. So what were some of the results you saw once you started implementing all this?
Well, I mean, some of the things that have been interesting is you talk about in the course writing a really killer about section, which I had never thought about. I sort of just had like a bio or 2 sentences. And then I really went through that exercise in that part of the course and wrote something that was really personal. And my connection to what I'm really passionate about and often write about is marketing and inclusion and that intersection. And now when I get invited to speak or I'm on a panel, this just happened a few days ago, someone rereferenced the about, like, they get that? And I was like, oh my God, it's my about section, which I should update. So I think that was a breakthrough as well, because people will connect with me and say, oh, I love your about section. And then you just have given me such great tools and tips about how to write content and how to actually storytell, whether it's that the algorithms where do not bed the link in the content, put it in the comments, to how to use hashtags in the ordering, to how you can actually summarize an article. Because one of the things I never thought about, which you talk about in the course, is a lot of individuals will actually never click on the link or the article, but they will rely on you as sort of the investigative reporter to share your thoughts on the article. And that's how you build thought leadership.
Yeah, and you're so good at that. I absolutely love your approach. You've really taken this and been such a person who curates information so that when someone follows you, they really are getting this really quality information right there on LinkedIn. And what I love is, like, when I do have marketers in this program, it really is a testament to the fact that every platform is different. Like, there's, just because you are an expert in one platform doesn't mean that, you'll know exactly what to do on the next. For example, I don't know what to do on most platforms. LinkedIn, my bread and butter. I could do it all day, but other platforms, it's a totally new beast. And so I think what a lot of people I'm seeing them do on LinkedIn is they're taking principles from other platforms, applying them there, and getting like no results.
Well, I wanted to find a course like yours for Facebook or Instagram. Maybe you can start one, but I couldn't find one because it was what you provide is just so impactful and really has been game changing for me. I wouldn't be a top LinkedIn voice without following a lot of the principles you taught us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into that. So, what did you feel like when you were named the top voice?
I thought it was a joke. Well, I got it and I was like, is this a spam form? Like, what is this? And I like filled it out and I was like, okay. And I mean, it was really amazing. Like, I was like, wow, like people actually find my content valuable. And I think there's a lot of power in storytelling. You can be healed from storytelling. You can make connections from others. You can inspire someone to tell their story. And so it was like a really amazing recognition, especially in a year that was tough for many of us.
What was the aftermath of that? Like, after you got announced, what changed for you?
So I started to get a lot of followers, right? And a lot of individuals, and they actually tell you that when you, and LinkedIn's great about this, when you're awarded top LinkedIn voice, they actually tell you, make sure you set your button to follow, because a lot of people will come follow you, and I've just found it to be, like I said, people are so generous, kind, and supportive. And that's what I found. I found my audience has grown, and I am I have a full-time job. I'm the head of inclusion and equity and impact at Carta. This is my life's work. And I just like to honestly share what I'm learning about the world and teach others. And so if that resonates with people, I'm really happy for that. And sometimes it doesn't resonate with people, and that's okay too. But I also find on LinkedIn, you can disagree and have good conversations. I think the community is really supportive of that, because I think we can learn a lot from disagreeing with each other.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, I've definitely seen, like, after that happened, I definitely saw this massive shoot up for you in followers, which was really cool to see. But you were already getting such amazing engagement. And that's what I really like about this process of building LinkedIn thought leadership is it's really all about quality necessarily. Like quantity is great, but I think that, and when I read the comments of the posts that you do, like people are connected to you. They're invested in you. They are people who really believe in what you're saying. And so, yeah, I think that that's probably another reason why you got top voice, because you're very consistent. You really have a voice, and people are right there with you, like, paying super attention. And so I want to know, what are there's been some pretty cool opportunities that have come your way and all that stuff that have happened since you've really invested in your thought leadership. What are some of those that stand out to you?
I would say number one, I was really lucky in this pandemic to change jobs. And I know that's not the case. And I just want to mention that because I know a lot of women in particular, I mean, we know 5 million women have been let go since the start of the pandemic, and 2 million women have disappeared completely from the US perspective. So that's important to remember. And I'm really lucky that I got another great job and actually started getting courted for a lot of jobs. And people would talk about the fact that, oh, we see your thought leadership on LinkedIn. So to anyone who's listening, LinkedIn is the digital resume. People will ask for your resume, but they will look you up. And now when I get opportunities to speak at conferences or be on panels, send me the short bio, but we already have it from LinkedIn. And so I would really encourage anyone who is in the middle of the job search, trying to find an opportunity, to really get focused on LinkedIn, and also to put out there what you want to be known for. So maybe you're trying to transition. I'm a number of people, because I've had a long career in as a marketer and still consider myself a marketer now in the DE&I space. If you're looking to transition, start putting out content about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and start positioning yourself as a leader, which of course you teach us in the course.
Yeah, and I love that. And what I think is really something that some people have never experienced is the fact that you get these opportunities passively, right? These companies are asking, saying, hey, Mita, like, interview with us. They're saying, please interview with us. It's these panels saying, please be on this panel.
Yeah.
Am I right? Like, you're not sending out like 50 emails a week trying to get opportunities?
Because and I know you talk about this in a lot of your work. I'm not right now building a business. I am working full time, and my life's work is being a change agent in organizations. And so I am passively just getting lots of interest and opportunities to come speak on panels and in conferences. And it's through LinkedIn, and through my LinkedIn messages, which I have a hard time. If you're reaching out to me, I'll get back to you. But it's through all of that. And I mentioned this to you, Madeline, before too, is that I've had the opportunity to write for Harvard Business Review 4 times since the start of the pandemic and taking this course. And I think all those things build on top of each other. And I write a lot too now off LinkedIn as well, but then share those articles on LinkedIn. And I recently wrote a piece, and the outlet had said, well, we know you have a lot of followers. Would you share your piece on LinkedIn? So I think these things all build on top of each other. They're not isolated, right?
Mita, I had the same experience as you. So I started building my thought leadership while working at a company, no intention of starting a business, because I was just thinking, I want to invest in myself and my career and make sure I never have to job seek again, that opportunities will come my way, that speaking engagements come my way. And also that I feel like I'm helping people, that like my presence on this planet is bigger than maybe, my day-to-day just at my desk. And it's so cool that, I kind of look back now and I just know there's some cool things I know on the horizon for you. It depends, you can spill them a bit if you're interested. But I just think that so many of these things, it's like, you don't have to go into this knowing this is how I'm going to transact. Here's how I'm going to turn this into money. It's more of like this long-term investment. And one of the best things that comes out of it, at least for me, is the relationships.
Absolutely.
Like, have you built great relationships because of this process of building thought leadership?
Absolutely. When I do have time, I love meeting people on LinkedIn. And so when people connect with me, and if I can make the time, I've met a lot of great people, one that might lead to actually a board opportunity. So that's all through LinkedIn. And so for anyone listening, just, spend the time, on LinkedIn and do whatever you can. I also loved, Madeline, when we were talking and when you were teaching the course, when I was taking it, you do what's right for your schedule. And I think also during the pandemic, everything shifted. People are on LinkedIn a lot. So, I know that there's probably best times to post on LinkedIn, but I usually post really early, US Eastern time, which is between the hours of 6 and 7 a.m., which is the calm before the storm in my house, because I'm usually up reading short form, and I read what I'm learning and I post. And then probably in the next hour, like you encourage in the course, is to do some engagement. But that's all I can do in my life. Like I can't be on all day. And then I might, I'll be logging in again at night to check it out. And then also to show some love and shout outs to you or others who are posting, who might come up on my feed and provide some content, but some comments. But I would say, like, start anywhere and do what's good for your schedule. I'm also predominantly posting, like you had said, with consistency, usually Monday through Friday. There are days, I'm not like trying to necessarily right now sell anything except just put out thought leadership. So if there's nothing I want to talk about, I don't post, right? But generally it's just, Monday through Friday, or I think like you had also mentioned in the class, if something's really timely, especially in the DE&I space, I might post on a Saturday if something really struck me or something happened in our world that I want to talk about. And I've also seen great engagement when it's also timely, even if it's not during a time where you think a lot of people would be on LinkedIn.
Completely. I think that's so healthy. It's you want to hold yourself to a schedule because you don't want it to kind of slide around and you not really show up for yourself the way you want to. But at the same time, like, yeah, don't beat yourself up. Like do what feels right. Do what feels fun. I think that's the thing is, I think this whole thing, once you know the strategy behind it and how to do it, and then people start liking your post, people start commenting, the relationships start happening. I think the motivation it starts snowballing because you're not just speaking into this empty void. You're like, oh wait, I know the strategy to make this happen. And then it makes it fun.
I had another story I wanted to share. Speaking of people reaching out on LinkedIn, I had somebody who was an acquaintance reach out. I had known her over the years and haven't seen her in a while since of the pandemic, but she has a new book coming out. And she sent me a note and said, hi, I have a new book coming out. I just wanted to reconnect. I'd love to know what agency you're working with for your LinkedIn content, because I want to hire them for my book. And I was like, me, myself, and I, this is the agency. I don't have an agency. And she's like, what? And then I had sent her a link to your course. And I said, listen, it's actually, and it's different with the book, but I said, I haven't found it to be that difficult. I mean, I think to your point, you get into a rhythm and cadence of what you want to post and talk about.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And that's the thing is, yes, people do spend tens of thousands of dollars on agencies who do exactly this. But what I love about doing it yourself is, first of all, you don't have to spend so much money, but also it's so what keeps people coming back is the connection to you, and really feeling like that there's a person behind every post. And that not only when you post, people comment and then commenting on their comments and like really just making sure that engagement is there. It feels really two-way. So I'm sure, an agency could help with that and it could still be good. But there's just this incredible connection with the audience when you follow it this way.
I know you also talk about cadence with content in your course, and someone also asked me, they had messaged me, do you have a content calendar? And I was like, no, I have my iPhone. I have notes. I mean, this is just what works for me. I'm reading. And when I think, I think I just learned something that someone else might get the same lesson from, I save it. And I save it, and then later, the next morning I'll post about it. But that's really I guess it's not more complicated than that. Perhaps I could be more organized, but that's what works for me.
Yeah, I've seen all different ways. And in the course, it also can get less, it can get more, free flowing. It can also get very, I have like a calendar of like what you can post every single day, even if you want to. So there's all these different ways you can approach it. And I think, taking inspiration from every day is so helpful to really keep that fire alive of keeping it fresh for yourself.
Yeah.
So So just a heads up for everyone watching, I will, Mita talked about like, watching the webinar and then joining the program. I'll link both of those links in the description if you want to watch the free masterclass, get a preview, or if you just want to dive straight into the course. I'll put both of those links there. But I want to hear like what's next for you and where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. That is my primary platform. Like you said, like I'm on Twitter, not very active. I have a private Instagram for my kids and the public. Facebook, not so much. I'm a voyeur on TikTok, right? I mean, you just find the platform and I find LinkedIn's my home. What's up for me next? I'm just going to continue to write a lot and build my platform on LinkedIn and hopefully at some point write a book and come out with that. And so that's those are some of my wishes I will put out into the universe. Yes.
Yes. Everyone, you have to follow Mita on LinkedIn. Seriously, like if you want to see some really high quality content, follow her. And yeah, she writes amazing articles. She's just totally, just so many different places where she's popping up and adding value. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the channel today.
I have to say thank you so much. I'm not sure what caused you to come on my feed this time last year, but I am super, super grateful for your course and really encourage anyone to take it. It's such an easy investment of time. And like a year later, the results are here. So I'm just super grateful for all you do in the world, Madeline. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And I just wanted to just shout out this Alex who said, thank you for having the courage to often start tough conversations. We all need to have more of them. Your approach to DE&I is so refreshing. To you, Mita.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So awesome. All right, I'm going to send you off with a Wi-Fi high five.